So we're so busy in our own lives, we don't have time to slow down, to listen to what's going on. And we think that if we slow down, that that's bad. And we just really need to listen to ourselves and understand that that's not a bad thing to slow down and listen.
Well, hey, welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And today we are talking about your energy and vitality, especially if you are a woman of a certain age. I'm joined today by Amy Dougherty, and she is an expert in bringing your energy forth if you are a perimenopausal or menopausal woman, especially. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Amanda. I'm excited to be here today.
Super excited to have you here. So, we've talked to a lot of people over the past year or so in the show, and we've talked about everything from, how to get more leads, how to make more sales, how to navigate AI. And I'm really excited to have a little bit of a frank conversation around health today. So, Amy, what is something that you wish more, especially female entrepreneurs, kept in mind when it came to progressing through the stages of life and keeping up with everything we have to keep up with?
I wish they would understand that your body is giving so many signals every single day. And if they listened to their body more, it really is just telling us what we need. And we were not having the conversations 5 years ago that we're having now. And I'm so glad that it's becoming more mainstream now. And when I went through it, like I said, nobody was having a conversation that I felt alone. I was crazy. I was losing my mind, and I really had nobody to talk to. And I really just didn't know where to go, didn't know who to, like I said, who to talk to. Doctors were just kind of pushing me off. And I never want another woman to go through that. I never want another woman to feel like I felt. And that is my sole mission in life, is to really lead those conversations, direct those conversations, and be the voice of women today. Whether it's the Gen X woman, the older millennial women, I want to be there for them and just answer questions, lead the conversation, and just help them navigate this phase.
So, how do you do that?
It's funny because I went to the doctor the other day, just my GP, and somehow in the conversation with the nurse, it came up in conversation, and even the nurse was like, "Oh my gosh, like I need your card. I have to get your card." I'm like, "You're a nurse, like you should know these things." And just in everyday conversation, wherever I go, went out to a lunch with a coworker, and somehow we got to talking about food and things we should be eating, and I'm like, sparked the conversation. It just listening to everyday conversations everywhere I go, it sparks something. And then Coach Amy kicks in and just listening and picking up on conversations. And I've joined a bunch of networking groups and have met all different women from all walks of life, and really just, like I said, picking up on little nuggets wherever I can and inserting myself in all different walks of life, all different groups, and joining Facebook groups, and just, like I said, leading the conversations. I had in-person event here in my hometown, and just leading and bringing women to me and sparking those conversations and education. Really, it all comes down to education. And like I said, letting them know, listen to your body and what it's telling you, and what the different hormones do to your body, what it means, what it happens. It all starts with education, and then going into nutrition, exercise, and mindset is kind of where I lead them then on that journey.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I love how you're creating community through this and hosting like the events and everything because, there's maybe it's a bit taboo of a subject to be talking about menopause and perimenopause. I'm actually pretty excited that it seems to be like gaining steam, especially through social media
Absolutely.
in the past few years. But, it is a big change and it is very, very significant. And often women that are at this stage, they've got kids that are, moving off to college. So that's a really big transition. They probably are still working for several more years and they've got a lot of energy. They've probably got a team that's depending on them. It's a very energy intensive and demanding season. What do you think is the main reason that women don't already listen to their own selves, their own bodies? What do you think gets in the way of just intuitively understanding that?
I think you said it, is that we have so much going on. We're still raising kids. We're part of that sandwich generation where we're raising kids, we're taking care of our parents a lot of times. We are very career driven. So we're still at that stage where we are moving on in our careers. What's the next goal? What's the next career move that I want? So we're so busy in our own lives, we don't have time to slow down, to listen to what's going on. We are busy taking care of our spouse. We are moving into still wanting to have fun with our friends. And there's just so much that we want to be part of: social media, doom scrolling, or, you know, Netflix. What's the next show that we want to watch? We're just so, everything is in our face. We just don't have time to slow down. And we think that if we slow down, that that's bad. And we just really need to listen to ourselves and understand that that's not a bad thing to slow down and listen. So yeah, we need to understand that it's okay to listen, stop, slow down.
What would you say to someone who really doesn't feel that permission? This show goes out to a lot of entrepreneurs or new entrepreneurs who, for example, are probably working a full-time job and starting their next gig, their next hustle. And so, what would be your guidance to someone who maybe legitimately can't slow down?
That's hard because I'm in the same boat. I will admit I'm still in my 9 to 5 while I'm coaching, and it is hard to slow down. But it's funny, in my coaching, you understand and you learn that actually the number one killer of women is heart disease. It's not cancer. People think that it's cancer. It's not. It's heart disease, which comes down to estrogen and all of that. But it's not really that we can't slow down. It's a lot of, estrogen and our cardiovascular. But it's funny when you think of, oh my gosh, the number one killer of women is heart disease. We have to slow down. We have to take better care of ourselves. We have to really learn to listen to those little cues. I keep coming back to that. And I feel like a broken record to say that, but we have to understand that care is not selfish. So you have to find pockets. You have to find an accountability partner if that's what you have to do. Journal, meditate, yoga, take an exercise class, whatever it is that works for you. Get in your car, go for a drive, listen to loud music, sing. You have to find what works for you. 5, 10 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be long periods of time. I'm not talking, go take an hour and go away. Just something, 5, 10 minutes to just bring you back to center and do that.
I love that. I love that idea. And I think like something I really noticed when I became a high performance coach is I was learning a lot of these same techniques around like slowing down and paying attention. And, we have our productivity habits and our influence habits and our energy habits and like all these different habits that we coach around in high performance. And the thing is it does require that. So slow is smooth and smooth is fast, right? So I think like the big unlock for me personally and what I've noticed for a lot of my clients over the years has been this breakthrough realization that me slowing down to, for example, hydrate, or me slowing down to make sure that there's something for mom on the agenda today, right? And that there's that protection, I guess, of healthy habits and so on. I love what you said about it. Like, it's not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. And in fact, I would take it another level is like self-care is a responsible thing to do. And it's so easy, I think, to get trapped in the belief system that you are a human doing and not a human being. And the thing is like, who are you doing that for exactly? Is another really good question, dear listener, to really think about is like, all right, you're sacrificing your health for your kids. Would your kids want that for you? You're sacrificing it for your spouse. Would your spouse want that for you? You're doing it for your boss. Would your boss really want that for you in the longer term? Your team? Like, who are you doing it for? To let all these things go. And that's like a really hard question because I think a lot of our value on a identity level comes from being needed.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I talk a lot about inner critic too. And our inner critic, always gets the better of us. And I always say, our inner critic, would you say that to your best friend? If you wouldn't say it to your best friend, don't say it to yourself. And it kind of goes along with the same thing. Like you always tell your best friend, slow down, relax, take it easy. But we never say those things to ourselves. Like you have to start saying those things to yourself that you say to your best friend. You are
Mhm.
your best friend. You need to treat yourself like your best friend.
That's a big adjustment for a lot of people, and speaking from personal experience, like that's tough, especially if you have had an inner critic screaming at you for 40 or 50 years, right? What would you say are your favorite techniques for handling that inner critic?
It's tough because my inner critic, I've named her Sybil. Remember that movie from the 70s? That's what I call her because she's mean. She is really mean. It's taken a lot of work to really tame her, and she still does get the best of me sometimes. But it's really recognizing her voice, and she has a voice, so it's recognizing her voice from my own voice. And you have to stop and listen. Is it her or is it me? And listening and then just taking a deep breath and pausing for a minute and just letting that pause before you react and before you do something and then just really breathing and like I said before you can react and knowing okay that was Sybil, it's Sybil, she's mean, let her calm down and then Amy can go forward.
It's so good. It's reminding me of that saying, like, don't believe what you think,
Yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely.
be very
Yeah,
careful about believing what you think, because you're right. Like, that's not our authentic true voice. Your true voice would never want to hurt you, right? Your true
absolutely.
voice would want you to thrive, to be happy, to be safe, to be protected, to be loved, and to be loving. Like, that's our core self. That's truth, right? But we have so many influences starting from birth forward that can really convey some very funny ideas, and those funny ideas can really not feel funny at all, and they can feel threatening, and they can feel unsafe. So then we repeat and repeat and repeat those thoughts over and over again, not because they are capital T true, but because believing it at the time kept us safe. So, learning that you're safe now and you don't need it anymore. You don't need that voice anymore. It is so far a lifelong pursuit, like you said, it's one thing to train yourself to recognize the voice, but I think something that I've observed is that it just never seems to go away. Do you have the secret? Does it ever go away?
It never goes away. That's why you
It
just
never
have
goes
to
away. Okay.
learn to recognize that voice and just you have to learn to tame it because no, she's always there. She's always there.
She's always there. I love it. Amy, if someone wanted to learn more about perimenopause, menopause, and, coaching through it, what's the best way for them to follow you?
Thriving in Midlife on Instagram. So follow me there, or my website is amydougherty.com. And I actually have a freebie there. So grab it. It's 7 healthy habits. Easy. Not going to strain your life at all. But yeah, grab the freebie 7 healthy habits.
That's
So yeah, go amydougherty.com.
awesome. Awesome. And dear listener, we'll make sure that we have Amy's links in the show notes below, wherever you happen to be listening. Amy, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me, Amanda. This was fantastic.
I love it. I love it. And dear listener, do check out the link, the show notes below for the links for Amy, for the show and all of that. And hey, if you've loved listening, don't forget to subscribe so that you will get the next episode as soon as it becomes available. And if you really loved it, be sure you grab a link wherever you happen to be listening and forward it to 3 of your friends. You know, this is a time of change and transformation that if you're all alone through that, it sucks. So make sure you grab this episode and share it with a few of your. All right, we'll be back with another episode very shortly. And until then, make sure you do what matters.